Greetings, sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body-Culinary, and I'm coming to you today with like the quickest ever quickie style, right? I'm really loving these vintage inspired styles, and I do have fresh corn on my face. Always have food. I tell you, I put food on my face. So I'm just doing these really, really quickie styles. If you're interested in low maintenance, classic chic, untwisted, no product styles, freedom hair, then stay tuned to the end of this video. And today we'll also be touching and having a communication around inflammation and how important it is. If you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm Body-Culinary, professional chef, personal trainer, natural born woman, mother. I love a natural lifestyle, or as close as I get and can get to it in these times that we're living in. And on this channel, I love to share some of my journey of radical self-acceptance, really accepting and celebrating and being creative with unique features divinely assigned to me while on this side of the earth plane, as well as encouragement to three lifestyle practices that I think we all have access to. And those three lifestyle practices are peaceful consumption, food that loves you back, basically, that still has its living water intact. You can still recognize it as a food. It has life force, vitality. It has, in addition to living water, it has its nutrition, its nutrients still intact so that our cells can recognize it, because our cells are very, very smart. We're over a trillion cells that are communicating with each other. And it is super hot here today. So food that loves you back, AKA peaceful consumption, food that doesn't drop a whole lot of waste and deposit it on your waistline. Garden therapy, as well as a personal movement practice. These are three lifestyle practices that will serve you into perpetuity as long as you are on this planet. It is such a deposit into the 401k of your body. Greetings, Queen Von. So today I'm just sharing this hairstyle. It's super, super quick. And I'm making use of something I've invested in before, which are these little elastic or stretchy sleeves that are not totally cotton, because or you may or may not know that cotton can absorb the moisture out of your hair. And so although I'm not putting oil in my hair, I find that covering the hair with something even slightly silky can keep the hair from drying out. So I've heard people say it moisturizes the hair, but I found it more so it keeps the hair from drying out and rubbing so much on the pillows and cotton, which can be an issue, especially if you're not oiling your hair. So I don't have any products in my hair. I'm not twisting. This is freedom hair for me. I've done everything I could possibly do. I've got my ears fried, my scalp fried, hair pulled out from the root from too tight braids, and I'm just not doing it. I'm taking that time and resources and spending it in the garden. So a lot of my styles are conducive to an active lifestyle. I can appreciate folks with all different types of styles. I can appreciate makeup. However, maybe one day I'll play in it. For the most part, though, I like enjoying my skin. As somebody that's had a lot of acne in climates where it's really hot, I can't imagine putting on 10 tons of makeup, even as someone that's worked as a personal trainer for years. If I'm running with clients and I'm training, I can't have mascara running down my face so I look like I got a couple of black eyes. So usually that would mean one of the things that I still like is mascara. So, and even then, a lot of times I'll just put some cocoa butter, what do you call it, shea butter on my eyelashes or castor oil and keep it moving because I prioritize the active lifestyle. So it's hot. Right, man. I've been 3 months of freeform and loving it. Yeah, simplicity, ease, relaxation, ease and relaxation. I want comfortable clothes, comfortable hairstyles. Doesn't mean I want to walk around like a ragamuffin, like a bum. I enjoy play. However, I call it a sweet spot. You'll have to find your own sweet spot when it comes to your movement practice, your food, your garden. You'll find your sweet spot. We're all on our journey. So hopefully you can take something from this. Okay, so the style today, I'm donning, which I never thought. So I'm pulling this out right now, deconstructing it. This took me like not even 2 minutes. So I have the sleeve. So my tutorials are just deconstructing because ain't nobody got time for all of that. So here's the sleeve. I can also put this on at night to sleep with. This is a shorter sleeve. So basically I put it on like a headband, right? So you can see I have it on like a headband. This is so easy. It's like ridiculous. So all I did is, I've been working with this swoop to the side. Sometimes I just swoop it, and sometimes I put it into a little cinnamon bun swirl. So that's it. So it's one little sleeve. You can also, if you want to, layer these. I had like green in one of my designs, one of my dresses, right? So I decided to put this lime green. This came in an inexpensive pack, I believe, of 6. You can even sew these sleeves. I've sewn several for myself. So I love things that are multi-purpose. Also, if you're loose natural or you have a bunch of locks, or you're starting to get length, and you know how the shower caps are too small? You don't want to get the big jumbo, but your hair is too much to fit underneath. Well, you can put one of these on first and then put your shower cap on. It keeps everything right in there, right? So, in deconstructing this, I have the little swoop over to the side. So I only have 33 locks, and the only reason I know is because it's not a whole lot of locks. And they are flat. So I just put a couple of hairpins. You might want to ensure that your pins still have the tips on them so they don't scratch your hair or your scalp. Okay, so that's all I did. Do I have some stuff in the garden in my hair? See, this is why you got to cover your hair. Sometimes I don't like to cover my hair, but if not, and I can't see that much, stuff in the garden will get caught in it. Everything can get caught in here, and I can't see because this is kind of mirrored anyway. Anyway, so what I did with this, which this is so easy. This reminds me of the beehive, my Auntie Joanne's beehive. So all I do is swoop this to the side and I pin it, right? And then here we have, I'll just put 2 little hairpins, 2 or 3, whatever, of the long hairpin. So usually, this is the bobby pin, and here's the hairpin. So I like to be very careful, This is the hairpin, and these are the big ones, big size. And this is the bobby pin. Make sure they still have their tips intact. So I'm just using these as I decide if I want to swoop it to the right or to the left. I'm just tucking it. If sometimes I don't even use a pin when I put a scarf on. I've been using vintage scarves, and I can tie it into a bow and tuck it right underneath. So this is being left to rest, and I find it's getting more and more. I can't see. That's going to irritate me. There we go. I can't. I'm not touching this, so this is getting more springy and puffy. So this hair loves to be left alone. So we got the swoop to the side, and we had a little hairnet. And I'm finding there are different types of hairnets. So this one is a little bit thicker. Often you'll see these in 2 or 3 pack, maybe for $1.50 or $1.99. I find those are easy to rip. So this one is in between. It's not the largest size hairnet, and I can tuck this right under. Now, that's it. That's all I did was put it underneath the hairnet, swoop this to the side. So instead of doing all of that rollers and curlers, all I did was tuck it in underneath. And sometimes you even have a little bit of a loose wave. So I'm getting more of that mane, which to me is lovely as a person with fine hair. Wondering, can I ever have dense hair? I found the key to it is leaving it alone. And greetings, Queen Ra and Carolyn Shepherd. You always hear Carolyn Shepherd sending you some warm, positive vibrations. I hope you are creating a great day for yourself. So I think we can really enjoy this. I haven't been doing anything. Oh my gosh, this is like such a relief to know that you can have something classy and chic that is just for you. I don't know if y'all remember those perms, Just For Me, the kitty version of Dark and Lovely, and what a scam. This is what is really just for me. Because who else has this unique genetic marker? So you can see how they're progressing all flat, and it's fuller from leaving it alone. When I'm rinsing it, I just really massage my scalp when I'm in the shower, and that's it. And so I can feel the sebum, but I don't have any dandruff. And it's like it's recalibrating or retraining your eyes and your hands to really get back in tune with what our hair feels like. So it's light and fluffy because it doesn't have any of the oil, which feels great initially when you put it on. But over time, it can feel stiff, and it can be hard to get it out. So I'm just free. And it has a little bit of length, and I've trimmed it several times. So the communication from the hair and scalp is, please leave me alone. Please do a movement practice so you can circulate all of that good food around. So that is the hairstyle. Can't get any quicker than that. You can get out of the door, and I think it looks chic. And I'm really feeling the energy of those classic vintage styles, like, the Dorothy Dandridges and all of those ladies. Actually, there's a young lady that has a really interesting, a lovely channel that I've watched over the years. Her name is, let me see if I'm saying her name. She's a Haitian sister, Karine Alud, and I think it looks like Alord, but it's pronounced, hopefully I'm pronouncing it correctly, Alud. And she has, I don't know if I would call it a femininity channel, though she does a lot of reviews, biographies of many actresses, lots of black women, but black women, white women, some men, just very interesting biographies. And one of the things I like so much about her channel is a lot of these, first of all, it's a lot of classic beauties with vintage style, the Marilyn Monroes and all the other prototypes like her that we haven't heard before. And she goes into the story of their lives, and it's so enlightening, and it's definitely a pattern as you watch these women. I mean, it's, if you think of, first of all, I don't know if I want to say first of all, but all the women who are the icons of beauty, right? The vanilla ones and the chocolate ones. When you peel back the layer of their lives, many of them died young and tragically. And continuously, what has been coming out is that these women were mishandled by entertainment executives in, what do you call it? Hollywood. I'm sure there's some other names for it. But in Hollywood, some of them dying at 26, some of them, even the Vanilla Girls. One of them, I don't know if it was Diana Dawes or one of these bombshells, blonde bombshells, who was dyeing her hair, y'all. We thought the Chocolate Sisters had it bad. She was dyeing her hair with ammonia and straight bleach, ammonia and bleach, to get that bombshell look. And they were also doing a lot of manipulating to their hair. Also, interestingly, the entertainment executives that took a lot of these women on all wanted to change their name. So when I always talk about health and confidence over beauty, they wanted them to change their name if they had an ethnic name, to hide their ethnic background, and they wanted them to have a look that sold. So even years ago, they had, little nips and tucks and plastic surgery. Isn't that interesting? One of them supposedly died from the caustic fumes of dyeing her hair to a platinum blonde back then. And it's like many of them, it is said, were passed around between all of these different executives, these studio executives. So here I'm gonna do that little swoop and tuck it under. Right, this is easy. And here goes the bootleg Mr. Softy. Oh, in another country, we got a bootleg Mr. Softy. So here, folks, I'm just you see how easy that is? So all I gotta do is a little tuckeration. That's it. A little swoop. This reminds me kind of like the scarf that women would wear with the sunglasses tied underneath. This is so easy, and it's not taxing on my hair. So anyway, just looking at the pattern of all these women whose beauty was exploited, and it's this desire for fame. Let me know in the comments, right? We're just honest. Most of us, most young ladies want to be a model? Or you all want to be a model? Where does that come from? I like to reverse engineer and see where that desire comes from. Could it come from a combination of not enough safe attention from our dads, or also as we're socialized peer pressure from society? We want to model. We're not considering what we want to model. Usually it's fashion. We want the accolades. We want the attention. We want the validation. We want to be models. And quite often it's not too much later. I mean, look at all these young women that died young, or, a lot of these bombshells were on these extreme diets of tomatoes or grapefruits. It's a similar pattern. And now, because of social media, a lot of this information is exposed. So in any event, you're welcome to check out Karine Alud's channel. You can tell a body culinary really enjoys her channel. So the other thing, that's the quickie hairstyle I wanted to connect with today, and just very quickly talk about inflammation. Right? It's a term that we hear a lot today, just like we hear protein powder, just like we hear the term narcissism. It's a popular term, inflammation, and it's something for us to seriously consider, right? Some of us may think of inflammation as bloat, right? I know as a fitness competitor, the term bloating is thrown around, just like carbs is thrown around. However, a lot of distinctions aren't made. However, I think many of us now, even the layperson, is becoming more aware that inflammation is at the ground level of our body starting to have a response, a dis-ease, or a response to what is being subjected to. I was a tomboy growing. I never wanted to model, but I did ballet and lots of sports. Good for you. Good for you, Queen Bra. So inflammation, I think it's something for us to, in our time, our free time, to look up, to research, not necessarily to overwhelm yourself with information, though it's really, really important for us to get informed and to educate ourselves because information is out there. It is so, so important not to wait until you're about to have a child or until you're in your latter years, right? That's your major 401k is your body. To wait till it's late to find out about some of these things. Prevention is better than cure. So at a root level, one of the body's first responses and disease is inflammation. And so what is it and what can we do about it, right? Again, keep in mind prevention is better than cure. So what we do know about inflammation, right? Before we get all these anti-inflammatory foods, right? Because sometimes we're just looking at the food. We want to just do lots of vitamins and foods, yet we're still not really comprehending what's at the root. So here's some root causes of inflammation. Chronic stress. Chronic stress. And I can tell you, somebody eating whole living foods and exercising and raw vegan foods for years, it helps greatly. However, our stress still must be addressed. It's not just saying, oh, I have stress. To actually put something in place, I found your personal movement practice is one of the best things you can do to neutralize and mitigate a lot of the stress. So chronic stress, even a lot of things we're watching and the fright and fear and the war and the worry about bills and the children and safety, that's actually stress and our body's having a chemical response to it. So chronic stress, blood sugar imbalances, right? So if our blood sugar is imbalanced, how can our blood sugar be imbalanced? Well, one of the ways our blood sugar can be imbalanced, and I like to make things really, really simple. You don't have to take my word for it. You can do your own research. I'm just here to share one woman's perspective. You're always welcome to share respectfully in the comment section. So what can cause blood sugar imbalances? Well, one of the biggest things at a base level is eating, how I want to call it, lots of recreational eating where we're only concerned about the party in our mouth, the sugar, salt, fat, yet there's substances masquerading as food. I was a junk food junkie. So half of my thyroid is gone. Obesity was waiting for me like the many other women in my family. And I can tell you the comorbidities, the diseases that run in packs with each other, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure. I had one client, several hundred pounds. And I said, are you diabetic? She said, no, not diabetic. And I was thinking like, wow, are we just waiting for the diagnosis? What's going to be the tipping point? So blood sugar imbalance is sugar. I invite you to consider it as energy, units of energy. If we have excess sugar, excess calories, excess non-food calories, excess devitalized food that's been so processed that it no longer has living water, and the nutrients, the nutrition that's in it now has been compromised, right? Most of the nutrients are compromised in the presence of heat and light and processing, right? Which is why I recommend to you whole, fresh, living foods that you can still recognize with the living water intact. If there's going to be any processing, you do it, right? You become a really, really smart cookie and you start to notice and you'll be able to taste if your food has been tampered with. Granted, it's not a totally pure, pristine environment. So perhaps one of the best things we can do is start to grow your own, AKA garden therapy. And everyone can really grow something. I'm telling you, I did a New York City apartment in the cold. So starting from there, it's a learning process. So all of that recreational eating, it's inflammatory because your cells are like, tongue is like, fabuloso. Cells are like, what the hell? What is this? I don't know. I don't recognize this. If you're eating stuff, if I eat this paper, my body's like, I don't recognize that. So there's a foreign presence in the body. Ring the alarm. It's an emergency. I have to do something about all of this fake stuff in the body, right? It's poisonous to the body to put things that are not designed to go into it. Let me know in the comments. This is not making ourselves bad or wrong. We're eating lots of things that were never designed to be in the body. They don't have any living water. They're devoid of fiber, or the fiber has been so processed, it's not vital. When I'm saying vital, the juices out of it, quite often on the grain, the endosperm, the outer covering, with most of the nutrition has been removed. It tastes lighter, it tastes fluffy, it melts on your tongue, but it's not really food. Most of the nutrition has been leached or cooked or processed away. So, what are our cells to do with that? Inflammation, right? So, we have chronic stress, blood sugar imbalances. Simple way to think of it, putting all of that sugar or energy, but we've extracted the nutrition, right? So, we can make it like a nice outfit, but there's nothing in it. It's like it's an empty shell. Then there is vitamin deficiencies. Again, if we're eating foods that have been so compromised and so processed, we've lost a lot of the vitamins. Again, we lose them, they're compromised in the presence of heat and light. Okay, there's also gut dysbiosis. Gut dysbiosis, and many of us are eating very fast, walking down the street, in the car, on the phone, doing several things at the same time. And so we're not present while we're eating. The satiation cues are not kicking in, and we're not chewing the food thoroughly. Most of us are not chewing our food thoroughly. Most of us are very distracted. It really takes something to be present. I know we laugh at it and we like to think we're so educated. I'm humbled by just how much we're easily programmed and triggered as human beings. So gut dysbiosis, we start to get holes inside of the gut from all these pieces of food that are not chewed. And when that unchewed, undigested food hits the bloodstream, it's actually toxic to the bloodstream. It can cause internal toxemia, right? So gut dysbiosis, many of us got holes in our gut because we're also eating very stressed out. Watching a lot of the fright and fear and the sadness can actually throw off your ability to digest calmly in a calm state. So there's also hormone imbalances. So think about it. I know, I'm not looking to be a party pooper. I'm just stating the fact. You don't have to take my word for it. Anything I said that doesn't resonate, please respectfully leave it right here. Hormone imbalances can enter in so many, a myriad of ways. And we just think about how quickly, you can look this up, how long it took many years ago to raise a chicken for those of us that still eat flesh foods and animal foods, not to make us bad people. It's about clicking in awareness. It took a long time, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, to raise a chicken in a natural way. Very slow, long process. That's why people had a piece of meat every once in a while, right? And then it's so quick now that they raise these chickens and they give them almost like bodybuilding. They give them steroids and they give them lots of foods to fatten them up. I've noticed here that even the biggest animals, I just see them munching hay and grass all day, and they have super big muscles. So their growth time has been sped up intentionally. That actually can give you a big clue into all of the starch and the recreational food we're eating that is devoid of water, has loads of low quality salt in it, lots of flavorings. So these things are stimulating what I'll call false appetite, right? So we're not dialed in. So awareness is one of your biggest friends, and relaxation and awareness go together. So taking in a lot of animal foods with a lot of these hormones, extra hormones equals hormone imbalance, right? A lot of these animals are in their growth spurt, right? Let's say the babies, right? The little infants and the cows, little calves, and their biggest growth spurt is as babies, right? That's what that mother's milk is for. It's not meant to be after that infant stage, right? When you get to a certain point, you stop breastfeeding. All animals, you stop breastfeeding at a certain point. So we're kind of still breastfeeding as adults, and also the milk of other animals. That this all being said, you will have to find your sweet spot, whether that is animal products or not. This is not about making yourself bad or wrong. I find it can be much more effective to just peacefully and with a healthy sense of curiosity to cultivate an awareness around the constitution of what you're eating, the why of what you're eating, the state of mind you are when you're eating, right? And how in integrity the nutrients are inside of that food, so we can move beyond just the party in our mouth, right? So let's go along with the causes of root causes of inflammation. There's also over exercising, which is usually not most of our problem, but there are some of us that can over exercise, right? So we have hormone imbalances, over exercise, environmental toxins, the tremendous amount of toxins, and all go in the supermarket, one of these Costco type stores. The dramatic amount of chemicals in the cleaning section. So they've got stuff smelling like tutti frutti, lavender, cherry, just like the air fresheners in the car that we're cleaning the house with. As you start to change your food to something more natural, it starts to become overpowering and you can smell that it's caustic, but many of us are conditioned to a lot of these chemicals. If you have children and we're washing the tubs with Ajax, I grew up with them using Ajax and Comet cleanser. We don't even think of what these words are. We just say here cleanser, and not really. We don't use discernment, and it's not making us bad or wrong. But what's in it? Because when you start to get overwhelmed, sometimes you look at what's in it. He's like, I can't use anything. I can't eat anything, which is not the case. It's just a big reorientation. So over-exercise, environmental toxins, not getting enough sleep. This is usually one of my Achilles heels. Even if you can't get enough sometimes, to get quality sleep is really important. Now, all of these things are contributing to inflammation. Many of us will pick one or two that are our favorites, yet all of them need to be addressed. So not getting enough sleep, right, throws our whole rhythm off. Mold and heavy metals. Metals can come in heavy metals inside of the water that we're drinking that's being recycled through the municipal water system, right? Lots of lead, a lot of the building materials, because it may cost a bit more to use natural materials. Go figure. And then one of the top ones, root causes of inflammation. Highly refined foods. Highly refined. So that would be fried to death, cooked to death. A lot of the natural water is missing. It just no longer recognizable. The cells can tell the difference. These are at the root cause of inflammation. Now, there are lots of foods that we can eat that are anti-inflammatory. Before we even get to the supplements, what I can tell you straight off is prevention is better than cure, because many of us are not banking on the aches and pains. It's not on our radar. It's not on our radar. We're going to pay up front or we're going to pay in the end. So what I can recommend for you, a couple of resources for you to look, just in terms, we can call it alkaline, we can call it vegan, we can call it all this other stuff. But the things I just listed, all of them weren't even primarily food. They were mostly lifestyle. Again, which is why I encourage those 3 lifestyle practices. Garden therapy, so much falls under that umbrella. Peaceful consumption and a personal movement practice. Those 3 lifestyle practices are leveraged to such a degree that it's astounding. It's astounding. I would say your ultimate investment in your 401k is not to let those lifestyle practices go when things change around you or situations get challenging. Those are the things that actually carry you through. So some resources that are available for you are Whole Living Foods in the Hood. That is a guide with different sample budgets and ideas on what you can shop for and pictures of how you can take on whole, fresh, unprocessed foods as a lifestyle. Also, perhaps I can, as a junk food junkie, I can give you some insight. And insight and clarity are worth their weight in gold. They can save you so many years of going back and forth with making the decision and then going back, making a firm decision on there's certain things, right? That principle of not putting myself or my body temple in harm's way. Once you get clear, it becomes easier to cultivate your own personal litmus test for what you allow inside of your mouth to go to your stomach and to your different organs. So that guide is available to you. Lots of pictures if you're a mother or if you're a single person. So much is included there. If you are perhaps experiencing lots of acne, as I have had, and you're interested in natural lifestyle, clearing it up naturally without all the stuff over the counter and in the health food store, which is what I did, I use food, right? Whole, fresh, living foods on the inside primarily. My movement practice circulates all that good nutrition to my hair, my scalp, my colon, my kidneys. We just keep putting stuff here. We're not thinking of the kidneys and the liver. So it's not likely that we'll be able to metabolize fat or have clear skin if we keep putting in things that are clogging and taxing the kidneys and the liver. Greetings, Rhonda. Oh, thank you. Are you liking these fun, easy hairstyles? One of the reasons that I love these hairstyles, because I have other things to do. We've got other things to do. We have gardens to grow. We have the option to play if we want to. And we have a personal movement practice. So if we're held back by our hair, we got stuff to do. So do check out Natural Beauty No Products. if your hair is loose natural, right before my hair lock, you'll see as someone with really, really fine, delicate hair, I have the option to cut it off, but right now I'm keeping it on my head, as well as my eyebrows and my eyelashes. I'm not interested. I don't want the evil criminal cartoon character, like the permanent frown um, look. It looks very, very from my taste. It looks very, very harsh. So I want to preserve what I have. I understand that with the best care, my body is going to age, and I prioritize here health and confidence over beauty, which is somebody else's moving goalpost. It doesn't speak to mental and emotional health. Does not speak to mental and emotional health. We want our breasts to be tumor free, growth free, our wombs, our reproductive organs to be growth free. If we have an internal message and a ticker tape going, a loop of, oh, I hate it. I wish it looked like this person. Oh, I hate my butt. The body keeps score. The body keeps score. So over here, it's about radical self acceptance, really accepting what it is we've been divinely assigned. We're going to lay down this coat called the body, making peace with it, peace and acceptance. And it really takes something to just make a decision. No, I'm going to validate me. I validate me more than somebody in the boardroom, more than somebody I'm chasing for some superficial compliments, right? Because actions speak louder than words. Can I say the practices again? Sure, I can. So lifestyle practices, Afro flower practices, anyone, whatever your package, you are welcome. So peaceful consumption. This is just what I'm calling it, right? Because we don't need one more thing to divide us. We really don't, right? It's our own personal journey. These are habits we pick up. We start judging harshly ourselves, which doesn't make us feel better, which is going to drive us to self-medication. And we're beating up on each other. Oh, look at her, look at him. I've been there. It's a waste of time. It doesn't affect your bottom line. So those three lifestyle practices are peaceful consumption is what I'm calling it. And simple litmus tests. Principles I find can go a lot farther, because if you find a litmus test, then that'll help you. Once your food passed that litmus test, then it's a green light to enter it in. If it doesn't, it's like a vetting process before you let somebody into your life. They don't pass the litmus test. They could be cute, have a lot of muscles, look like an Adonis. We do not pass go. We do not pass go. So food that loves you back. Does it add to my vitality, to my longevity? Is it full of living water? Is this going to leave unnecessary waste on my waistline? Do I feel sluggish after I eat it? Does this make me irritable? Is this a non-food yet it's recreational? Is this a substance masquerading as food? Right. So we talk about this more in the Fit Flower community. Which you're welcome. You should be receiving something soon if you're interested in joining us. Come together around an activity and activities, right? The goal is to get us busy, right? Minding your own business fitness, right? So minding our gardens, minding our movement practice, getting some joy. We deserve to feel joy now. That's not dependent on whether somebody chooses you, you choose you. It's not dependent on what the current trends are, not dependent on what's going on in other countries. Their lifestyle practices we have access to. Peaceful consumption, your personal movement practice, cultivating, starting, reactivating a personal movement practice. And I invite you just to observe, observe your internal dialogue, even if it's harsh, like to have a healthy sense of curiosity. And some work going on in the back, if you are avoiding, to ask yourself, the questions of, am I avoiding? Am I putting it off? Is it too uncomfortable? You may want to use your journal to just come to present, because a lot of times we're ruminating, obsessing without doing anything about, right? It's a sticking point. It's a loop. It's a mental habit, right? So we have peaceful consumption, your personal movement practice, and then we have garden therapy. Even if you've got a tiny little windowsill, even if you start with 2 plants, so you just start with 1 plant. I like 2. Something beautiful to feast your eyes on, like a pothos, right? Or common house plant, very easy to grow, proliferates easily. You can vine it around your windows. And then also some kind of herb that you can eat, right? And some folks don't be afraid if you lose the plant. That's how you're going to learn. That's how we can help to mitigate this insidious, some carpenters over here, fear of failure, right? Which is, it's not failure, it's feedback. There's no way you're going to learn unless you get into the process. I call it staying in the conversation, right? Many of us get momentary enthusiasm. Oh, I'm going to do a fast. Oh, I'm doing a 21 days. Oh, I got a detox kit. And it fades out. So I really have been fascinated in over 3 decades of working in food, healthy food and fitness, what caused some people to really be excited about their lifestyle practices, maintain, sustain, and continue to grow throughout even their season years, and also the self-sabotage. So there are some distinct patterns there, right? So those are the three: garden therapy, peaceful consumption, and your personal movement practice. Those are the things that we discuss all the time within the Fit Flower community. Again, coming together around activities. For those folks, some folks jumpstart with the 7-day, 3 or 7 day nutritional reset. And initially it's whole, fresh, living food. So you can get in where you fit in, and I make recommendations. The 7 days, it doesn't include any kind of processed foods, packaged foods, dairy. It doesn't include any flesh foods, right? So you don't have to be or do anything. However, it can be a real jump start and a reset with lots of recipes. It's all fresh and whole and living. So it's not a bunch of TVP. It's not processed soy meats. It's the whole food. So I like to add to the chapters my great-grandmother's and my grandmother's passed down to me in terms of like Grandma Lou's coconut bread and her hot pepper sauce. I use a lot of those flavors and ingredients, yet I don't put the flour. I don't put the sugar. So I'm adding on a chapter to the tradition. You're welcome, Queen Ra. So y'all, welcome to check me out at Body-Culinary. Send me, if you're interested in the application, see if it's a good fit for you, the Fit Flower community. There's the 3 and 7 day nutritional reset. And then also if you're interested in ongoing coaching. So folks are sharing their food, and I'm constantly watching people's repertoire of their food change and become more beautiful and colorful. And it's a natural process. And it's really encouraging when you have support. Support, we can get support in all kinds of stuff. We can get support in smoking some stuff, gorging ourselves, going on spending sprees. I really value if I have that person that's going to support, like we can look in each other's food bag and we've got, what's your healthy fruit you have today? Sharing, about our movement practice session and our workouts. It's a good use of your time. Like, are you motivated to get into action around the things that you say you value? That's one of my litmus tests. Whatever I'm giving time and attention to and I'm watching, is it motivating after I'm watching it? After I get off the phone talking to somebody, are we both motivated? And am I motivated to get into action around what I say I value? Am I more depressed? Am I more confused? That right there, those principles, that's a litmus test to let you know what's affecting your bottom line and your results. That's letting you know about the quality of your consumption patterns, which goes beyond even just food, right? So I'm big over here on all of that energy that I'm saving from hours of doing hair. That's why I call this freedom hair. Freedom hair. The regimen, I'm taking like a minute and a half, and my hair is flourishing. I have very, very, very fine hair. I'm taking all of that energy and those resources, and I'm using it for something else. If you're interested in Fit Flower, you can send me an email and a request at body-culinary.com or bodyculinary@gmail.com. And it'll be on another platform that is private, so I can see exactly who's in there, right? So that we can have a safe space. And right now, I'm a 2-hour time difference. So our time has shifted for a meeting in the mornings to work out. Hit it and quit it. 40 minutes, hit it and quit it. Mondays through Thursdays. And we have other activities on the weekend in Body Culinary Academy. So I'm not at the phase of my life to be convincing and beating people in the head and family members to eat healthy. It's not that time anymore. Actually, I have to say, I don't find it so rewarding. I don't. It's not about me beating people up. Either you want it or you don't. But there's a lot going on right now. So it might be beneficial for us to, and maybe we're just in denial, and that's understandable too, because it can be kind of scary to reckon with what's going on around us. But being in denial and not taking action, I don't know how that's going to pan out for us in terms of food security, physical security, who's coming to check for you, depending on what your age is. And now society throws women away at age, what, let's say you have from 18 to now people consider themselves old at 30, you know. So you might want to be thinking, whether you have children or not, about what is the next half of my life going to look like? Who am I going to be spending it with? If you're choosing not to be in toxic relationships or to settle, our security into the future, and even if we don't have children, looking perhaps taking care of yourself first, but also looking to another generation is something for us to really consider, because all of us are going to lay down our human suit. All of us are going to become old one day, even with the best care. So who do you want around you? People that don't really care about you. That's what I find kind of disconcerting about the different platforms that are out here. I was like, we're constantly and I get where it comes from without making us bad or wrong. The root of it is trauma. Quite often our trauma is constantly being exploited to it, like Dizzy don't even know which way to turn, don't know our head from our toe or from our backside. So this one woman's perspective, we're constantly being manipulated and triggered. When you are triggered, it goes past your logic and goes right to your subconscious. Those 5 basic fears that we talk about: poverty, criticism, old age, death, fear of loss of love, and never finding love. So it's constantly manipulated. So those lifestyle practices can go a long way in helping you to be present. It can help you act, even being in the garden. The garden can help you develop discernment because it's not based on people. You watching the ants and what the ants and the bees do for self-preservation to protect themselves. Even sprouts and plants have certain toxins in them to help them preserve themselves and not to be eaten up. There are lessons in nature that we don't have to be dependent on everybody's interpretation, so we can get some clarity, because we're kind of confused. It's a lot of programming that's clashing up against each other, and it can render us paralyzed. So the only one that has a vested interest in your quote unquote healing, in your overcoming trauma, rewriting your narrative, is you. You're the main one that's going to reap that benefit of those deposits in your 401k. And we want to be healthy enough to make good investments in ourselves and to have a clear mind to be able to discern the people in our lives that are assets, not just for their quote unquote money, for real care, who, everything we invest in multiplied. Is it coming back to you? Are folks begrudging about their care for you when you are caring for others? These are some things to consider, and that we'll talk about more and discuss more and strategize about more in Fit Flower, right? We like to get to the root of what's driving our behaviors. It's a lot of fear there. And so we may not be able to change the whole world. However, when you are consistently addressing those lifestyle practices and making those deposits consistently, it can help give you access to calm and to clarity, right? To corrective action that is not dependent on religions, people, religious groups. It's sovereignty, where we're responsible. We're responsible for our lives. We can't change what happened to us. Yet right now, our lives are our responsibility. So I know for me, taking a lot of this off the table has freed up a lot of space. So I'm not worrying about my hair. I can play and make, but I'm not worried about makeup. That's not my top priority. My priority is health and confidence over beauty. We're likely not going to be confident. One of the reasons we're not confident is because in our quiet moments, we're not in integrity. We know we're not doing what we need to do for ourselves to secure ourselves into the future. We may be giving access to our reproductive organs to knuckleheads out of fear, eating certain foods purely for comfort, knowing full well that they are toxic to our organs and to our body and to our skin, right? So it's easy to get a high five on toxic treats and practices. Don't have to make each other bad or wrong. It's only for us. This time I call it cocoon time. Got my own language and unapologetic about it. I say, go ghost. I say, folks are looking for you. Mind your own business fitness. Where'd they go? Where are they? What all those Afro girls, where all those girls go? Somewhere in the garden, somewhere jumping double dutch, somewhere traveling, somewhere playing in our hair, laying on the ground. Being for yourself doesn't mean that you're anti other people. It's for yourself. And that shows up. As one of my coaches used to tell me back in the day, when somebody's serious about something, and I've had some coaches I used to think was like just they straight up. And I'm so appreciative. It shows up in two places: your checkbook and your calendar. So if your personal movement practice is on your calendar and you keep those appointments, if you don't, that's for you and your quiet moments, right? To discern. So you see how what a drug a lot of the distraction is? Then we don't have to make ourselves bad or wrong. It's a distraction. It's profitable for us to be distracted. It's profitable for us to proliferate more human beings in a distracted, irresponsible way. There's profit in there. Not for us. Usually a lot of misery and heartache. I want to get my daughter. Thank you for everything. You are welcome, Queen. Why you're welcome. So we got things to do. There's joy to be had, right? Some of those fear is not going to be joy. Fear of missing out. Getting in integrity, your movement practice, knowing you're making yourself stronger. Before your body changes, you're going to feel better first. Taking care of yourself is a tremendous boost of confidence. Eating healthy food, even more so, finding healthy food you enjoy. It's a sigh of relief. Then you can wipe that off the slate. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You made a decision. You have beautiful, healthy food that you enjoy. You have a movement practice that you look forward to, peaceful consumption, and you have a garden, nature's church that you can go to rest your eyes and your ears and your brain and your mental activity. We need places and sanctuary to rest. Who has it? Whose best interest is it in for you to apply all of this corrective action, these lifestyle practices that we have access to? You can grow something in any environment. I've worked out and done a movement practice in every kind of situation imaginable. And from day one, I knew I needed to do it in a little space if I had nothing and no equipment. That has been my creed. In addition to building movement into my day, I get a lot of movement inside of the garden, right? So we have our movement practice, we have peaceful consumption, and we have garden therapy. These are flower practices that we have access to, and they are leverage activities. Just consider this. Just consider it. So I'm going to jump off here. I just wanted to come in and talk again. If you didn't catch the talk, you can rewind to. We were talking about inflammation today, and also in Fit Flower and in the reset, we're talking about different foods that are anti-inflammatory. Some of our favorite foods and our treats that the recreational eating are at the base of inflammation. So why spend all this money on expensive supplements only to continue eating like detox to retox? Only you can get clear in your quiet moments, right? Because time is of the essence. Time is of the essence. So I'm inviting you all to create a great rest of the day on purpose. Let me know. I've been hearing more and more people are starting their garden. So this is really, really exciting. Let me know, have you tried any of the vintage styles? Keep in mind, if my hair was still loose, natural, and short, I actually found it easier, right? These would be loose. I'm wearing a lot of the same styles I would if my hair was loose. So I would do a lot of loose. Each one of these before, and you'll see if you have Natural Beauty No Products, was a double strand twist that I used to sculpt. So here with this this genetic marker, this is all about sculpting more than slicking, right? If you're looking to embrace the flow and the fro and the fluff, this is all about sculpting, whether it's loose natural or with locks. It's all about the sculpt. So let me know if you've tried out any of these hairstyles that take 1 or 2 minutes, and you can keep it moving. There's some other things that I'm so excited to be introducing in the Fit Flower community, like our share economy. So there's a lot coming down the pipeline. Send an email to bodyculinary@gmail.com or info@body-culinary.com. Y'all have a great rest of the day on purpose. Feel free to comment respectfully, like if you care about this kind of content, and subscribe to the channel. I will see y'all soon.